My child, stop everything you are doing right now. This is not a warning. This is an interruption, and it comes from me, and it cannot wait. Stop scrolling. Stop splitting your attention between this and anything else. If you are around people right now, step away for a moment and find a quiet place. Because what I am about to say to you cannot be heard in pieces, and it cannot be received with half a heart. Something tried to keep this from reaching you. A distraction, a heaviness, a reason to keep moving and never stop. But you stopped, you stayed, and most people would have already scrolled on by now. You did not, my beloved. And that was not an accident. I pulled you out of the noise myself, because what I need to tell you cannot survive being filtered through other people's opinions and questions and voices. Some truths are so personal, so precisely timed, so specifically assigned to you, that letting anyone else into the room while you receive them would dilute their power. This is one of those moments. Take a real breath, my child. Notice how your chest feels tighter than it should. Notice how your mind has been louder than usual. Notice how your spirit has felt crowded lately, even when you were completely alone. That is not stress, and it is not random. That is your spirit recognizing that something is shifting, and I am the one who pulled you aside to tell you what it is. I know how long you have been going without stopping, my child. You have been carrying more than anyone around you realizes, holding everything together for everyone else while quietly wondering who is holding you. You learned a long time ago that if you did not keep everything moving, it would fall. So you never let yourself stop. Never let yourself fully rest. Never let yourself be the one who needed instead of the one who provided, my child. And that is exactly why I had to interrupt you like this. A soul that never stops cannot hear the deeper things. Because the deeper things are not shouted, they are whispered. And a whisper cannot be heard over the noise of a life running at full speed. So I did what you would never do for yourself. I hit pause on your day. My beloved, I reached into the middle of everything you were carrying and I said, "Be still, because I have something to give you that your busyness has been keeping you from receiving." This is not one more task for your list, my beloved. This is me finally getting a moment of your undivided attention, so I can pour into the one who has spent so long pouring into everyone else. Let me begin with the thing about you that the world has never known how to handle, because it is the key to everything else I am about to say. The way you love is rare in this world, my beloved. You feel things more deeply than the people around you. You love harder than is convenient. You forgive faster than most people think is wise. You carry the pain of others as though it were your own, and you notice the one person in the room that everyone else overlooks. That is not weakness, and it is not too much. It is rare, and I made you that way on purpose. But hear me, my child, because this is important. A heart that loves the way yours does will always feel a little out of place in a world that loves carefully and guards itself and gives only what it expects to get back. Your rare heart is the very reason you have so often felt like a stranger. You were never broken. You were simply built for a depth most people never learn to swim in. Let me describe your heart back to you, my child, so you finally understand the thing you have spent your life apologizing for. You are the one who replays a conversation for hours, not because you are anxious, but because you cared about the person on the other end of it. You are the one who gives people the benefit of the doubt long after they have shown you who they are, because you would rather be wrong about someone than close your heart too soon. My child, you are the one who feels the shift in a room before a word is spoken, who senses when someone is hurting behind their smile, who carries other people's burdens home with you and lies awake holding them. Beloved, you love loudly in a world that taught everyone else to love quietly and safely. And because of that, you have often been the one who gave the most and received the least. People have taken your depth for granted because depth is not something they knew how to value. But I have never taken it for granted, my beloved, not once. Every ounce of love you poured out that was never returned, I recorded. Every time you chose tenderness when hardness would have protected you better, I saw it. Your rare heart has not made you a fool. It has made you like me, because I am the one who loves the way you love, without measuring, without keeping score, without waiting to see if it will be deserved. My beloved, so when the world made you feel like your love was a liability, when people took your kindness as permission to take advantage, when your softness was treated as an invitation to test how much you would tolerate, understand what was really happening. You were not being punished for having a big heart. You were being shown who could not be trusted with it. My child, every disappointment was information. Every person who mishandled your love was revealing that they were not assigned to carry it. I allowed you to feel the sting of misplaced love, not to make you close your heart, but to teach you where to plant it. Because a heart like yours is a treasure, my beloved. And treasure is not meant to be scattered on every road. It is meant to be placed in ground that can hold it. And the reason I have been so careful about who gets access to you in this season is that I am finally teaching you to give your rare love only to the soil that will let it grow, instead of the soil that only ever let it be trampled. If something in your chest just softened as I said that, my beloved, if you felt seen in a way you have not felt in a long time, do not brush it aside. That is your spirit agreeing with what heaven has always known about you. So say it back to me. Type "My heart was never too much." When you type it, you are not leaving a comment. You are breaking your agreement with every voice that ever told you to feel less. And you are agreeing instead with the one who made you to feel deeply. Stay close to me, my child. Follow this voice and subscribe, not to a channel alone, but to a steady flow of words I am using to keep your spirit awake and steady, while I do a hidden work in you that most people around you will not understand. There are words coming that are meant for exactly where you are standing, and I do not want you to miss a single one of them. Now let me speak to the thing you have been quietly afraid of. My child, you have felt isolated lately. Not just physically alone, but emotionally distant, spiritually separated. You have stood in rooms full of people and felt completely disconnected from all of them. Conversations happen around you and nothing lands, my beloved. You are present in body while your spirit is somewhere else entirely, and you have been wondering what is wrong with you. You have questioned whether you are pushing people away, whether you are becoming cold, whether you are sinking into isolation and cannot climb out. But my beloved, what if none of that is true? What if what you are experiencing is not isolation at all, but insulation? I have been wrapping you in a spiritual cocoon. I have been pulling you away from the noise, the drama, the opinions, the expectations, and even the well-meaning voices that would interfere with what I am doing inside you right now. My child, because you are in formation, you are being reshaped. You are being rebuilt at a depth that cannot happen in public, cannot happen in the middle of conversations, cannot happen while you are trying to explain yourself to people who would not understand, even if you had the words. There are some works I can only do in a person when the doors are closed and the crowd is gone. In the open, you perform. In the hidden place, you become. In the open, you are always managing how you are perceived, adjusting yourself to the room, carrying the low hum of everyone's expectations. But in the hidden place, there is no one to perform for. And so the real you, the one underneath all the adjusting, finally gets to come to the surface and be worked on. Beloved, that is why the deepest transformations in every life I have ever shaped happened in seasons of withdrawal, not seasons of applause. The applause seasons reveal what you have already become. The hidden seasons build it. And you, my child, are in a building season, which is why it has felt so quiet, and why that quiet has felt at times like abandonment. But I have never been more present with you than I am in this silence. The quiet you mistook for my absence is actually the sound of my full attention. I did not go quiet because I left. I went quiet because this kind of work is done in a whisper, and you cannot hear a whisper in a crowd, so I removed the audience. I cleared the room. I quieted the voices, not to punish you with loneliness, but to protect you through a transition. Type, this is insulation, not isolation. Think about how a caterpillar becomes something new, my beloved, because your season is written in that same design. It does not become a butterfly by trying harder or by staying comfortable. It disappears. It hides itself away in a cocoon, and inside that cocoon something happens that looks, from the outside, exactly like dying. The old body dissolves almost completely. If you opened the cocoon in the middle of the process, you would not find a better caterpillar, and you would not yet find a butterfly. You would find what looks like ruin, and that is precisely why the cocoon must stay closed, The transformation is too delicate, too sacred, too unfinished to survive being exposed before its time. That is where you are, my child. You are not falling apart. You are in the cocoon. What has felt like your old life dissolving is the very process that is forming your wings. And this is why I've been so protective of your silence. Because if I let people open the cocoon early, if I let their opinions and their questions and their fear reach in and touch what I am forming, they would mistake your becoming for your breaking, and they would try to save you from the very thing that is saving you. My beloved, so I sealed the room, not to isolate you from love, but to insulate you until your wings are ready to hold the weight of the sky. Now let me tell you why that protection was necessary, because you have been carrying a confusion that I want to lift off you today. Someone has been testing you, maybe more than one person. My child, not openly, not aggressively, but subtly, and it has left you unsettled in a way you could not explain. They have said things that poke at old wounds. They have raised topics they knew would trigger you. They have asked questions that felt innocent, but landed heavy, and made comments that seemed harmless, but left you disturbed for hours afterward. My child, and the hardest part, is that you could not quite name it, because on the surface everything looked fine, and so you began to wonder if you were the problem. If you were being too sensitive, imagining offense where none existed. My child, hear me clearly. Just because someone smiles while they cut you does not mean the knife is not real. Just because someone uses soft words does not mean the intention behind them is not sharp. Just because someone acts concerned does not mean they are not testing to see whether you will react, defend, explain, or break. Your discernment has been picking up what your logic could not prove. You are not crazy, and you were never imagining it. Type my discernment was never crazy. Let me tell you why this has wounded you so deeply, my child. Because there is a particular kind of pain in being harmed by something you cannot prove. When someone strikes you openly, at least the wound is visible, and you are allowed to name it. But when the harm is subtle, when it hides behind a smile and a soft voice, and the language of concern, you are left holding an injury no one else can see. And when you try to speak it, people look at you as though you are the one with the problem. My beloved, you have been made to feel unstable for sensing something that was really there. You have been told you are overthinking, too sensitive, reading into things, when the truth is your spirit was simply telling you what your eyes were not allowed to confirm. That is one of the oldest tactics used against the tender-hearted. My beloved, the enemy loves to wound the discerning in ways they cannot document, because then he gets to injure them twice. Once with the offense, and again with the self-doubt that follows it. But I am removing the second wound today. You do not need to prove what you felt for it to have been real. I was in the room. I saw what you sensed, and I am telling you, with the full authority of the one who misses nothing. Your discernment was accurate. Your unease was warranted, and you owe no one an apology for trusting the alarm I built into your own spirit. My child, before I show you what your stillness is really doing, I want you to reach beyond yourself for a moment. Somewhere near you there is a soul in the exact silence you are in, feeling isolated, wondering if something is wrong with them. Certain no one sees the transition they cannot even put into words. Sow a seed in their name today, not because you are required to, but because your spirit already knows the insulation I am describing is real, and you want them covered in it too. Visit the link in the description below, or scan the QR code on screen. Let your giving be an intercession for someone sitting alone in the dark, wondering if I still see them. I do see them, my child, and I see the seed you sow for them. Now understand what I have been asking of you, and why it has felt so hard. I have been telling you to stay quiet, and every time you feel the urge to defend yourself, I keep redirecting you back to stillness. That is not because your voice does not matter, beloved. It is because there is a war being fought over your transition, and your silence is your weapon in it. If you respond now, if you defend yourself now, if you explain yourself now to people who are testing you, you hand access to your next level to people who no longer have clearance to it. So hear this, and let it settle deep. My beloved, not everyone who had access to your last season gets access to your next one. Not everyone who knew the old you gets to know the new you. That is not cruelty. That is wisdom. That is protection. For it is written, the Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. Exodus 14:14. Your silence is not passive. My child, it is obedience, and obedience is warfare. Every day you do not react is a day the enemy's plan against you fails. Every conversation you do not engage is a trap you do not fall into. Every explanation you do not give is energy you do not hand to someone who is going to use it against you. For it is written, be still, and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Type, my silence is my weapon. I know how unnatural this feels to you, my child, because everything in you wants to set the record straight. When you are misunderstood, the instinct rises to explain, to defend, to make them see the truth about your heart. And in an ordinary season, that instinct is good. But this is not an ordinary season. Right now, your defense is not your job. It is mine. The moment you pick up the case yourself, you take it out of my hands, and I will not fight a battle you insist on fighting for yourself. But the moment you lay it down, the moment you decide that being misunderstood by people is less important than being aligned with me, I step in and I fight in ways you could never fight for yourself. There is a strength that looks like silence, my beloved, and the world will never understand it. The world thinks the strong one is the one who always has the last word, but I am teaching you a deeper strength, the strength to hold your peace when your name is being questioned, to let your life answer what your mouth is aching to answer, and to trust that a vindication I bring will always outlast a vindication you force, my beloved. So when the urge to explain rises again, and it will, do not read it as my prompting. Read it as the test, and answer it with the one thing the enemy cannot work around, your steady, obedient, powerful silence. Now I must expose the one who has been working against you in this season, because you deserve to understand what you have actually been up against. The enemy knows you are in transition. He knows I am repositioning you for something bigger and deeper than your last season, and he cannot cancel what I have already ordained. He cannot block what I have already released. So he has only one weapon left, and that weapon is delay. He cannot stop your elevation, so he tries to postpone it by provoking you, draining you, confusing you, getting you to react emotionally instead of resting in my defense. That is why the tests kept coming, conversation after conversation, situation after situation, each one designed to pull you out of stillness and back into reaction, to get you talking when I told you to be quiet. Because if he can get you to break your silence before I release you, he cannot cancel your breakthrough, but he can delay it. And delay is all he has. But I am about to do something he did not count on. Everything that has been hidden is about to come to light. The motives you could not see, the intentions you could not prove, the jealousy that wore a smile, the manipulation that spoke softly, the control that dressed itself as concern. I am bringing all of it into the open, and not because you forced it, not because you confronted anyone, not because you defended yourself, but because I saw it, and I am handling it myself. For it is written, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Isaiah 54:17. And for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Romans 12:19. When you defend yourself, people can argue with you and twist your words. But when I defend you, no one can argue, no one can manipulate, no one can twist it. The truth simply stands, and everyone sees it. The pit they dug for you becomes the trap that catches them. For it is written, whoever digs a pit will fall into it, Proverbs 26:27. Understand the enemy's oldest strategy, so it never works on you again. He rarely attacks the tender-hearted with obvious evil, because a tender heart would recognize obvious evil and pull away from it. Instead, he attacks through people who are close enough to be trusted, because a wound from a trusted hand goes deeper and is harder to name. He uses the friend who subtly competes, the relative who masks control as care, the voice that says it only wants what is best for you while quietly working to keep you small. And his goal was never simply to hurt you. His goal was to get you to react in a way that would disqualify you in front of the very people watching to see how you would carry yourself. He wanted your breakthrough delayed by your own words, but he made one miscalculation. He assumed you would break your silence, and you did not. You stayed still long enough for me to move, and now the timing belongs to me and not to him. Everything he built in the shadows I am about to drag into the light, not on his schedule but on mine. And when it is exposed, it will be undeniable, because I do not expose things halfway. What he meant to bury you will become the testimony that vindicates you. Type God fights the battle for me. Now let me speak to the guilt, because I know it is sitting heavy on your chest. My child, you feel guilty for pulling away from people. You feel guilty for not being as available as you used to be. You feel guilty for not explaining why you have changed, for not defending yourself when people misunderstand you, for protecting your peace when protecting it means disappointing people who expected access to you. That guilt has made you question whether you are being selfish or cold or unkind. But listen to me, my beloved, boundaries are not betrayal. Distance is not rejection. Silence is not cruelty. Protecting what I am building in you is not punishment toward anyone. You are not responsible for managing other people's feelings about your obedience to me. You are not responsible for making people comfortable with your growth. My child, you are not responsible for staying small so that others can feel secure. For it is written, if I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. Galatians 1:10. Your first responsibility is to me and to the assignment I have placed on you, even when honoring it disappoints people who expected you to stay the same. Type my boundaries are not betrayal. Let me free you from a lie you have carried since you were young, my beloved. Somewhere along the way, a tender heart like yours was taught that love means unlimited access, that if you truly cared about people you would always be available, always explain yourself, always stay within reach, no matter the cost to your own soul. So you gave and gave until you had nothing left, and then you felt guilty for finally having nothing left to give. But that is not the love I modeled for you. Even I, who love without limit, do not grant unlimited access to everyone. There were seasons even my own son withdrew from the crowds to be alone with me, because there is work that can only be done away from the noise. If the perfect one needed to withdraw, my child, then your need to withdraw is not a flaw in your love. It is the wisdom your love has finally grown into. A boundary is not the opposite of love. A boundary is what allows love to last, because a heart with no fence around it gets trampled until it has nothing left to offer anyone. So the guilt you feel for protecting your peace is not conviction from me, my beloved. It is the residue of an old lie, and I am lifting it off you now. You are allowed to be loving and unavailable at the same time. You are allowed to care deeply about people and still not owe them entry into every room of your life. Let me tell you what has actually been happening beneath the surface of this silent season, because you have thought it was empty, and it has been anything but. While you have been staying still, I have been strengthening you, my child. I have been deepening your roots, so that when the blessing comes, you will be able to carry it without it breaking you. I have been expanding your capacity so that when the door opens, you can walk through it. Beloved, I have been sharpening your discernment so that when the enemy tries again, you will see him coming before he moves. I have been fortifying your boundaries so that when people test you, you will not waver. I have been establishing your identity so that when criticism comes, it will not shake you. My beloved, I have been securing your peace so that when chaos surrounds you, it cannot get inside you. For it is written, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. That is the peace I am building into you in the silence. A peace that does not depend on your circumstances making sense. A peace that stands guard over your mind like a soldier at a gate, even when everything around you is uncertain. You will not always understand how I am going to resolve what you are facing, my beloved. But you will carry a calm that towers over the question, and people will look at you and wonder how you can be so steady while the ground is shaking. And the only answer will be that your peace was forged in a hidden season where you learned to trust me without the evidence in your hand. This season of silence has not been a punishment, my child. It has been a construction site. What felt like isolation was incubation. What felt like delay was development. What felt like silence was strategy. Type what looked like delay was development. And let me explain a change in you that you have quietly worried about. My child, you have noticed lately that your tolerance for certain things has simply vanished. Conversations that used to be fine now leave you drained. People you used to enjoy now feel exhausting. Environments you once moved through easily now feel suffocating, and drama that used to pull you in now repels you almost instantly. You have wondered if you are becoming harsh, judgmental, too easily bothered. But hear the truth, my beloved. Your spirit has not grown cold. It has grown clear. I have been sharpening your discernment to the point where fakeness, dysfunction, and quiet chaos no longer sit comfortably in you, because they were never meant to be your permanent home. What you are feeling is not intolerance, my child. It is alignment. A tuning fork does not ring with a note it was not made to carry, and I have been tuning your spirit to a peace that will simply no longer ring with confusion. So when you feel that pull away from something that used to feel normal, do not fight it, and do not shame yourself for it. That is your restored spirit telling you the truth your comfort used to talk you out of. You are not becoming someone who cannot handle people, my child. You are becoming someone who can finally tell the difference between the ones who feed your spirit and the ones who have only ever fed on it. There is someone you know who is in their own silent transition right now, my beloved. Someone who has gone quiet and cannot explain why. Someone pulling away and drowning in guilt over it. Send this message to them. Be the voice I use to tell them that their isolation is insulation too, that they are not losing their mind, that I am doing a hidden work in them the same way I am doing one in you. Sometimes I reach a soul in the dark through a familiar hand that simply refuses to let go. Now let me tell you what is coming, because this season has a doorway on the other side of it. Very soon the fog is going to lift, the confusion is going to clear, the silence is going to break, and when it does, the version of you that steps out of this cocoon is going to be almost unrecognizable. My beloved, not to me, because I have always known exactly who you are, but to the people around you, and even to yourself. You are going to walk with a confidence that does not need anyone's validation. You are going to speak with an authority that does not need anyone's permission. My child, you are going to move with a clarity that does not need to be explained, and love with a security that does not need to be returned to feel safe. Doors are going to open that you did not knock on. Right people are going to arrive without you having to chase them. Opportunities that overlooked you for years are going to circle back and find you ready this time. And it will not come through striving, my beloved, because striving belongs to the old season. It will come through alignment, the natural fruit of a soul that finally stopped forcing and started trusting. What used to require you to push and prove and exhaust yourself will begin to flow toward you instead, because you will be operating from rest instead of from fear. And I move powerfully on behalf of a soul that has learned to rest in me, beloved. And people are going to wonder what happened to you. They will ask what changed, and you will barely know how to explain it, because it happened in the secret place. In the quiet, in the alone moments with me that no one witnessed. Type I outgrew what God buried. Let me show you what that new version of you will actually feel like from the inside, my beloved, so you recognize it as it arrives. You will stop needing to be understood by everyone in order to feel at peace. That alone will change your whole life, because so much of your exhaustion has come from trying to make people understand a heart that was never built for them to read. My beloved, you will find that criticism, which once would have kept you up for nights, barely reaches you, because your identity will no longer be built on the shifting ground of other people's opinions. It will be anchored in what I say about you, and what I say does not change with the mood of a room. You will love just as deeply as you always have, but you will no longer bleed for people who were only ever pressing on the wound to watch you flinch. My child, you will be tender and unshakable at the same time, which the world will not know how to categorize, because the world assumes that tenderness must be fragile. Yours will not be. Yours will be tenderness with a fortress around it, a soft heart guarded by a wall that only I hold the key to. And that combination, my child, a heart that stayed soft through everything that tried to harden it, and finally learned to guard itself without closing itself, is one of the rarest and most powerful things a human being can become. Most people who are wounded as deeply as you have been wounded choose one of two roads. They either close their heart completely, deciding that love costs too much to keep risking, and they become hard, safe, and unreachable, or they leave their heart wide open with no protection at all and get wounded again and again until there is nothing left of them to give. But I am walking you down a third road, my child, the narrow one that almost no one finds. On this road you keep the softness, and you add the wisdom. You keep the capacity to love deeply, and you add the discernment to know where to pour it. You do not become less tender, you become more protected. That is the miracle this silent season is working in you, and it is why it could not be rushed. A hardened heart is easy to make, and a naive heart is easy to break, but a soft heart with strong walls is forged slowly, in exactly the kind of quiet, painful, hidden season you have been walking through. You are not being ruined by what you have endured, my beloved. You are being turned into the rarest kind of soul there is, the kind that has every reason to be bitter and chooses to stay kind anyway. Some people will celebrate the person you are becoming. They will be drawn to what you now carry, and they will respect your boundaries without being asked, and value your peace without resenting it. These are the ones I have handpicked for your next season, the ones who can handle the new you. But others will not celebrate it, my child. They will be uncomfortable. They will try to pull you back into old patterns. They will use who you used to be as a weapon, a way to guilt you into shrinking again. They will test your new boundaries to see if they are real, and they will call you changed as though it were an accusation. But not everyone who calls you changed is wrong. You did change, and change is not betrayal. Growth is not abandonment, and evolution is not arrogance. You are allowed to outgrow people who no longer fit the assignment I placed on your life, and you do not owe anyone an apology for becoming who I always intended you to be. And do not grieve the ones who cannot come with you as though you have failed them. My beloved, some people were assigned to a chapter of your life, not the whole book. They were real, and the love was real, and the season mattered. But a bridge is not meant to be a destination. Some people were bridges I used to carry you across a hard stretch. And when you reached the other side, the bridge did its work, and the road continued without it. That is not betrayal, and it is not loss. It is the natural shape of a life that keeps moving toward its purpose. Hold no bitterness toward the ones who fell away, my child. Bless them, release them, and keep walking. Because here is the promise on the other side of that release. I am not only removing what no longer fits, I am bringing what finally does. There are people I have been preparing for you in places you have not yet been. People who will not need you to shrink or explain or justify your depth. People who will recognize your rare heart and treasure it instead of testing it. My child, the loneliness you have carried was never meant to be permanent. It was the empty space I was keeping cleared, so that when your true family arrives, there would be room for them to sit down. You have spent so long being the friend who understood everyone while no one understood you. My beloved, that is about to change. The ones who can finally understand you are already on their way. And here one more warning, spoken in love, because I want you protected as the silence begins to break. In the days ahead, the enemy will make one last attempt to pull you out of alignment, and he will do it right at the threshold, right when you are closest to the release. He will send a conversation designed to provoke you. He will send a familiar face to speak an old doubt over your growth. He will stir a small crisis to distract you at the exact moment your breakthrough is near, hoping you will mistake the resistance for a sign that you heard me wrong. Do not be shaken by it, my child, and do not read it as failure. The intensity of the resistance is not proof that you are off the path. It is proof that you are almost through the door, because the enemy does not fight hardest against the ones who are going nowhere. He fights hardest against the ones who are about to step into everything he spent this whole season trying to delay. So when that final pressure comes, do not break your silence to answer it. Do not abandon your peace to manage it. Stay still one more time, the way you have stayed still all along, and let the pressure pass by like a storm that has no power to enter the shelter I have built around you. So because you did not skip this message, my beloved, because you stayed in the quiet and let me speak the whole thing over you instead of running back to the noise, what was sealed for this hour has been opened for you. Before you seal this, my child, let me honor what this silent season has cost you, because you have carried it so quietly that no one, perhaps not even you, has acknowledged the weight of it. You have sat alone while others gathered. You have watched relationships thin out and wondered if it was your fault. You have felt misunderstood and chosen not to defend yourself, which is one of the hardest things a person can do. You have kept loving people who tested you, kept your integrity when no one was watching, and held your peace when every instinct screamed at you to speak. And you did all of it without applause, without recognition, often without even the comfort of knowing why. My beloved, none of it was wasted, and none of it went unseen. The silence you kept was heard in heaven louder than any argument you could have made on earth. The tears you cried in the quiet were counted. The restraint you showed when you wanted to react was recorded as strength, not weakness. So do not step out of this cocoon feeling like you merely survived it. My child, you did far more than survive it. You were faithful in it. And faithfulness in the hidden place is the very thing I promote in the open place. The one who watched every silent day is the one now preparing to release you into everything the silence was building toward. For it is written, "I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Jeremiah 29:11. I knew these plans before the silence began, my child. The quiet was never a detour away from them. It was the road to them, and the same hands that closed the door behind you and sealed you into this hidden season are the hands that are about to open the door in front of you at the exact moment you are ready to walk through it, and not one moment before. Because I do not release my children early, and I do not release them late. Beloved, I release them whole. You have not been abandoned in a waiting you cannot understand. You have been carried through a preparation you could not see, and the preparation is nearly finished. Now place your hand over your heart and declare this with me out loud as someone who finally understands the silence they have been living in. My isolation was never isolation. My beloved, it was insulation. My silence is not my weakness. It is my warfare. My discernment was never crazy. It was a gift. I will not break my silence before my God releases me. I will let him defend what I refuse to defend myself. Not everyone from my last season is meant for my next, and I release them without guilt. My child, the way I love is rare, and I will not shrink it to be understood. I trust his timing, and I trust his protection, and I am not alone in this quiet. He is here in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let those words settle all the way down, my child. And if this word has reached the exact silence you have been sitting in, sow one final seed in the name of the person who is on your heart right now, the one you know this message was truly meant for. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. Let it be your open hand agreeing with the hidden work I am doing, in you and in them. You are not being punished with loneliness, my beloved. You are being protected in a cocoon. And what emerges from a cocoon was never meant to crawl again. It was made to fly. Remember that when the waiting feels unbearable. Remember that the same silence that has felt like a grave is actually a chrysalis. The caterpillar never gets to see its own wings while it is still in the dark. It only feels the dissolving, the strange discomfort of a body becoming something it has never been. But the wings are forming the whole time, whether it can see them or not. Yours are forming too, my child. You cannot see them yet from inside the silence. But they are there, and the day is coming when the cocoon will open. Not because you tore your way out in a panic, but because the transformation finally finished, and what I formed in the dark stepped into the light on my timing, complete and ready and free. So do not despise this quiet, my child, and do not try to rush your way out of it. Trust the timing of the one who has never once failed you across the whole length of the road that brought you here. Trust that my silence over your situation has been preparation and not absence. Trust that my protection has been active and not passive. My child, trust that I have seen every unfair thing, felt every wound you swallowed without a word, and recorded every act of restraint the world called weakness. And trust that a vindication is coming that you will not have to lift a finger to produce, because I fight for the ones who let me. You have carried yourself with a grace that heaven has not missed, and grace kept in the hidden place is always rewarded in the open place. My beloved, so stay quiet just a little while longer. Stay still. Stay close to me, because the version of you being formed in this silence is the one the world has been waiting for, and I am almost ready to release it. Type, I will not break my silence.